Okay, Pollen, this is fabulous. Just fabulous. I think this is phenomenal work. And those of you who are watching along in Pollen, I certainly hope we've got a few viewers following along here because I really want to make some comments here. This is, folks, this is professional work. The grid is Pollen has followed the grid almost dogmatically. Almost dogmatically. There's a broken spot, one where I see one spot where it shouldn't be broken. But other than that, it's just gorgeous. And the way that she has set up, or Pollen, the way that you have set up your your hierarchy and your type, it's just perfect. I mean, you know exactly where you want the viewer to look, and I can tell you exactly where the viewer is going to look. That's a successful composition. All right, we're looking at a 4-column grid here, folks. How do I know this? All right, I'm going to take my measure. I'm just going to took this little measure. We're going to place it over that, and we can see that we got. This is not indicative of the size that it was designed in, keep in mind, but in the way I have this and the way it's showing on my screen at the size and resolution I'm at, we've got this basically we can clearly see that this is a 4-column grid. How do we know that? Take my ruler here, and I'm just going to see where the type starts. The type starts roughly around the 1-inch mark, and it ends at the 4-inch mark. So what are we looking at? We're looking at a 1-inch margin, and then 1 inch, 1 inch, and then a final 1-inch margin on the last column. So that indicates a 4-column grid where the type is actually starting on the second column. Now, another thing that type is doing, folks, is the type is spanning over to the next column. Okay, so keep that in mind. That's important. All right, that's okay. That doesn't mean broken grid. It just means that some type lines are exceeding the length of that portion of the grid. That's okay. That doesn't mean broken grid. This isn't a broken grid. What has been asked in the first composition is that using the statistical card data, you use the same point size, no contrast, and any hierarchy is going to be established using information and changes in space, using grouping and changes in space, which is exactly what we have here. We have grouping and we have spatial relationships indicating that we've got 3 separate groups here. 1, 2, 3. Logically, in the separate groups, the items within the separate groups are related to each other closer than the items in different groups. Okay, so 5-speed manual is closer related to rear-wheel drive than it is to 71 Tomasa Magnet. Why? Because this is the car itself, this is the topic, the headline, the subject, and these are the variables. Okay, so this was a really smart way to delineate this information. Next, we have our differences, and our differences here are introduced contrast of weight and scale, and we certainly see weight here, and we certainly see scale here. So again, phenomenal job following, yes, you got it, the same grid. All right, number 3, this is where I was talking about, is following the same grid again, but in this design you have multiple contrasts of weight and scale where you use any number of new sizes and weights. And this is a brand new design, same grid, right? And it is. It's the same grid. It's a brand new design. Okay, but here, you've broken the grid right here with the 1. And I'm not crazy about this 1971. That's not working. I think that this is fitting together like a puzzle, and it's creating this shape right here, which is really uncomfortable. It's causing some super uncomfortable visual tension, I think. This whole negative space created by that 19 being larger, the Tommaso being stuffed in there in between D and Magnusta, and then the 71 being, it looks forced, Pollen, it looks forced. That's a problem. And then final, this piece right here looks like it's ready for commercial, for commercial distribution. It's just gorgeous. Couple of problems here though, and boy, I wish that we submitted these as PDFs, but how can I do this? Here, I'm going to take my measuring stick here, and I guess I can leave, I have my notes up here from a history class, but we can see that right now. See that 9, that D and the M in alignment? That 1, that's got to be pushed over a little bit. It's out of alignment, and it's created. It's one of those optical relationships that'll have to be accommodated. And again, this 1 here, I don't know what is up with this 1. I don't know if it's the kerning, the leading, or what this is here, but the relationship between the 7 and the 1 is such that the 1 looks about half the size of the 7. Again, optical illusion, but you might consider something there to take care of that. Look at this negative space right here. It just clearly looks like that number visually, let's get rid of my history notes. Visually, this looks tiny. And that's something that's going to have to be accommodated. Again, this whole 1971 has to get pushed over to accommodate for that negative space right there caused by this misalignment. Okay, this is fantastic right here. Just fantastic. And the image is great. The rest of the composition is just really, really fabulous. And broken grid, folks, where right here. It's broken the original grid. It's actually obliterated the original grid. Well, not really, because we can see if we pull our thing, we can still have that center line at the 2-inch mark. So haven't really obliterated the grid. Oh, actually, yes, you have. Yeah, I take that back. Yes, you have. Yeah, the grid is totally different than it was. So I don't know what I was thinking. Sorry about that. But anyways, fantastic job. I think that you're looking great. So a couple of comments there. Try to work those into your final compositions and push it, Paul, and push it. Be creative here. I mean, try to push it. We know you can do this. All right, this is great. You can turn this in for your final and do very, very, very extremely well. So what does that tell us? Tell us, let's push our design. Let's push our creativity. Let's push this thing as far as it'll go, as far as I'm concerned. You got the basics down. We might as well push the envelope of design, as it were. All right, fantastic job. Any questions at all, please give me a holler. Thanks.